Hey everyone, how are you? Good morning over there, or good evening if you're in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Philippines, anywhere you are. It's my morning here in Pennsylvania. Today, I want to go over a live demo of um, how to save when you're bringing your products to the US. This is a topic that everybody has been wanting me to share. What are my tricks? What do I understand about US tariffs? How have I been able to save a lot of our customers money when they're bringing their products in? So a little bit, if you're a seller online and you import products from China specifically, or maybe other countries too. We never know. Any country that has a higher tariff rates coming into the US, um, you will benefit from these as well. Okay. So people ask me, how can I save? I just paid a bill of like $4,000 in US customs. How do I save all this money? I'm looking for, is there a better way to save? Yes, there could be a better way for you to save on your US tariff. So we're going to define what tariff is. We're going to use US customs. What is it? What are we talking about? If you're new to importing, especially from China, the game changed about 2, 3 years ago when when the trade war between the US and China started with President Trump. In order for the US to benefit from imports from China, and also because in order for the U.S. economy to grow and U.S. manufacturing to grow, and in order for in order for there to be a trade balance between the two countries, uh, President Trump imposed tariffs on Chinese-made goods. Some Chinese-made goods, maybe most of the Chinese-made goods, right? So everybody started to scream and shout, "Oh my God, are we going to survive? We're all going to die. Are we going to move products from China to the US? This tariff is just killing." Well, there's a good and bad to a tariff. It's for the interest of the country that is imposing that tariff. It's so that there could be trade balance. If the US is importing more of Chinese made goods and China is not importing US made goods, there has to be a balance somewhere. So that's why Trump put in tariffs, just to make sure that China also imports US made goods, and also to reduce the US reliance on Chinese made goods, right? You get it? So we're going to be talking about tariffs. It's a new word. It might be a new word for you, or you might already know tariffs. If you've been importing from China, you already know what I mean by tariffs. You've been paying that FT bill. But I'm going to show you what we do here in HONU. Kathleen, I taught Kathleen how to do it, but now she's way better than I do. So she had to give me some new skills that she uses to do to find new tariff codes for our customers when we're importing the goods for them. So I'm going to do a quick uh, um, overview of US tariffs, and then we'll go into a live demo on the steps we take to have a really good, to find people good tariffs, right? So you might want to please share this video or like it, share with your other friends or in your mastermind groups, anybody that is importing from China specifically. uh, they might be able to save a lot of money. I've been able to save some companies $20,000-$30,000 for each shipment. Even my brands, before I sold my brands, I used to save easily $100,000 to $200,000 a year, just from applying all these skills that I'm about to show you. Okay, if you ever get stuck, you know where to find me. I will introduce you to Kathleen. Kathleen can help you out to find you a really good HTS code. We're not always successful. Sometimes you might be using the best one that you never know, but in most cases, we're able to reclassify for you. But I'm probably talking jargons now to some people. They'll be like, what do you mean by reclassify? What do you mean by HS code? What do you mean by all this stuff? Don't worry, I'm going to go into it now, okay? All right, let's dive into it, Kels. I'm going to share my screen. You can see, and then we'll go from there. So how to save a ton on US tariffs. What are tariffs? Tariff is a tax or duty to be paid on a particular class of imports or export. So when you're bringing your products into the US, you need to pay the US government a tax or a duty for that importation. So let's say you're bringing a wooden product, or you're bringing some exotic product from China. By the time you get to the US border at the seaport, in order for you to be able to legally bring your products into the US, you have to pay the US government. In most cases, not all the cases, there are some products that are duty free. You have to pay the US government duty or some form of tax. We call it tariff, right? You have to pay the US government. And the tariff is calculated using a certain percentage of your purchase order value. So if you spent $20,000 to buy the products in China, you have to present that. Your customs agent or your forwarder or your shipper has to present that commercial invoice to the US government to declare the value of the goods you're bringing. And then they have to use a bunch of codes to determine what classification your product belongs to. Some products belong to 0% duty, some products belong to 25, some products belong to 35, 40% in duty. I hope you're not doing 40% duty, because that's a killer. But anyway, some products belong to, they fall in the category of very high tax or duty rates, while some don't, right? So your forwarder would help you do this to present your your product invoice to the US government before your products come into the US. They'll present the document, and then they'll pay on your behalf to the US government whatever tariff is due. So if your product is $20,000 and your tariff rate is 25%, that means you're going to be paying, a quarter of 20,000. That's $5,000 in tariffs, okay, to the US government. That means now your cost of goods is now 25,000, okay? But if your products fall into the category of extra tariffs, that means President Trump has imposed additional tariffs on your product, then you can pay way more. I've seen some people pay 13% plus additional 25% on their products. So you may be thinking, well, that means we're all in trouble. We have to pay these. No, there are ways you can legally reduce your tariff rate when you're bringing your products into the US. It's all about using the right tariff codes, right? So we're going to get into that. What are tariff codes? The tariff codes are divided into two. We have the HS codes and we have the HTS code. The HS code is the code they assign to every product from the country of origin. So whenever you're bringing a product from China, there is an HS code, which is, it's usually worldwide, actually. Only the US uses HTS. Every other country uses HS. US uses HTS code. I'm going to tell you the difference between it. So HS codes are harmonized commodity description and coding system. They are 6 digits. product classification code used by US Customs and all other members of the World Customs Organization to classify your goods for customs purposes. So when you're exporting, when the Chinese, let's use China for example, when your Chinese supplier is exporting your product to the US, they have to file with the Chinese government using HS codes, right? But when your goods are about to arrive in the US, you have to file with the US government using HTS codes. Now, the difference between the two codes, one is 6 digits and one is 10 digits. When you're bringing in from China to the US, your first digits, the first 6 digits of your code must align. If not, the US Customs are going to flag it. The first 6 digits must align, must be the same. If not, you may get into trouble, right? So let's look at HTS code. The HTS code is the US Harmonized Tariff Schedule codes. They are 10-digit product classification codes used for describing all goods in trade for duty, quota, and statistical purposes. The first 6 digits are from the universal HS code, and the last 4 digits are added by the US to provide additional classification. So, for example, you're bringing coffee into the US. Okay, all right. Is your coffee roasted coffee? Is your coffee decaffeinated? Is your coffee organic? Right? Is your coffee flavored? The duty you're going to pay for a coffee that is decaffeinated is probably going to be different from the duty you're going to pay from a coffee that is non-decaffeinated. It's been roasted and it's organic. See, and the difference could be a lot of money when you bring it into the US. So that's why it's very, very important that your forwarder or whoever is bringing or representing you to bring your products into the US, they understand this system. If they don't, you might find yourself paying a lot of money to the US government. And once you pay it, it's done. You just gave a free money. In some cases, you might be able to refile, but it's kind of tricky. All right. So when you're bringing your goods from China to the US, the Chinese forwarder or shipper or your Chinese supplier uses HS code, 6 digits, HS code to file with the Chinese government, telling the Chinese government, I'm shipping out these products. This is my product code. This is according to the Chinese classification or according to the world classification of products. This is the product I'm shipping out. And then they hand it over to whoever is bringing it into the US, and they have to use the first 6 digits in that HS code to now generate a US version called HTS code, which is now 10 digits, right? I'll show you later. So the question of the day now is, if 2 sellers sell the same exact product, is it possible one pays 6% while the other pays 31%? That's the question of the day. You're selling, 2 sellers, you and your friend, you're selling the same exact product, but when you're bringing your goods into the US, is it possible you get away with paying just 6% and your friend pays 31% in duty? Yeah, it is possible. Many people are paying a lot in their tariffs now that they shouldn't be paying that much. Some people have been paying probably 70% more than they should be paying just because they are relying on their forwarder or the supplier to give them the codes to use. So if your supplier gives you the code to use, how are you so sure they are right? And if your forwarder is using some code he got from the supplier or some code he dug out by himself, how are you sure your forwarder is right? How are you sure they're applying the right HS code for you so that you can convert it into HTS code to import it into the US? Let me give you something that I've never said before. Now, so this finding HTS code is part of my upcoming sourcing mastery training. It's going to be out maybe in a month or two. We are working hard to get it out to everybody. Everybody's been asking when it's going to come out. I'm just packing it really full to make it worthwhile. There's a lot of value in that training program. You can give it to your VA. You can, use it by yourself. I'm putting up the best sourcing training ever, hands down, so that you can have it, go do whatever you want with it. So this HCS code is a huge section on that training. So this is just a summary of what's going on. So using incorrect HCS codes to import your products into the US may cost you up to 30% more in duties. That's paying $30,000 extra on a $100,000 purchase order. I've seen it happen. I've been doing this for a long time. I've seen people pay a lot, and I've seen people save a lot. When I was selling my brands, that's one of the reasons my brands were very attractive to the sellers, because my HTS code, what I'm paying in duties, is very, very little compared to what other people are paying, because we took our time to really research and reclassified all our products HTS code so that we can save a lot of money. If your supplier sees that it can pick up an extra $60,000, $70,000 in tariffs, and you're using a multiplier of 3, that means your business is probably $200,000, $300,000 more value just by using the right HTS code. I'm telling you some tricks, some hacks into how you can increase the value of your store. Of your business, right? So I wanted to tell you some things that I've never said before, and it's only going to be heard here and in my sourcing mastery training. Okay, so I'm going to say it slowly. So when your supplier gives you an HS code, they don't care about you when they're giving you the HS code for you to file your import duty in the US. Did you know that almost every supplier in China gets a government rebate or government refund on all the product they're sending to you? Almost every Chinese supplier gets between 6 and 13%, in some cases 17% tax rebate for all the products they're sending to you, if they can just use the right and favorable HS codes for them. So the HS code your supplier tends to use for your product has to favor them, because they have to get back almost 17% from the Chinese government at the end of the year. So let's say you're ordering $200,000 worth of products from your supplier, right, in China. He could get back 17% of that money at the end of the year. That alone is worth him not making money on your order. That's why you have a wiggle room when you're negotiating in China. So for every dollar a supplier sells to you in products, it could get up to 17%. in tax rebate or tax refund from the US government, provided he uses a favorable HS code for himself. So even though your supplier is using an HS code that is favorable for him so that he could get the tax refund, you end up paying when you bring that product into the US and you use his HS code to bring it into the US. you might be paying a lot to the US government. A lot. And this happens on products that are FOB. That's why I love XWorks pricing. That's another topic entirely. You'll find it in my sourcing mastery training. I went deep into that as well. XWork versus FOB. Do you know that if you're buying your product FOB, then your supplier will be filing the export documentation with the Chinese government? But if you buy XWork, you get to be in control of how you file your export documentation with the Chinese government. That means you have the liberty of using a more favorable HS code when you're exporting out of China, right? Because any supplier selling to you XWork probably has forgone is tax rebate or tax refund from the US government in most cases. They might not get much back, right? And they may not care. They just want to sell it. They want you to deal with the headache of exporting, right? So you've never heard me say that again anywhere else except on this live and in my sourcing mastery course. But researching, you'll find out that what I'm saying is true. I've been doing this for a long time. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why your Chinese supplier, I'm looking at the watch to make sure we have time, your Chinese supplier would only find and will only use and will only push to you an HS code that is very favorable for him, not for you, not necessarily for you, right? For him. Okay, all right, let's go on. I want to get to this demo real quick, but we have a few more slides to go. I call it Afolabi's laws of tariffs, or Afolabi's law of tariffs. There are two laws that govern tariff, whether you're going to pay more or you're going to pay less in your tariff. The first one is your product application or product function, and the second one is your material composition of your product. Your product application or function or the material composition of your product. Let me explain. Let's say, I like this explanation. Let's say you're bringing in a baby book. Your product is a baby book, right? And the cover of that baby book is leather. And the inside pages is rice paper. And then you can put baby photos and you can write on that inside that book, oh, my baby just turned 5 months today. You can write it there and stuff like that, right? Or you moms, you know that. Maybe dads don't care about all this kind of stuff. But if you're a mom, you have a child, a baby, when he was a baby, you wrote all this kind of stuff, right? So your product has a leather cover, has a rice paper inside, is a journal, and is also a baby book. What kind of classification are you going to give to that product when you're importing it into the US? Because the product has multiple application and function. It's a baby book, and it's also a journal. And it's also a photo book. And then it has rice paper on the inside and leather cover on the outside. What are you going to use? That's where the trick is. That's where the trick is. Knowing how to rightly classify your product so that you can use the most favorable tariff code when importing into the US. If your supplier in China sees that he will get a tax refund from the US government by making your product, by classifying your product as a journal, it's going to say it's a journal. What if the US tariff rate for journal is 30%, but the US tariff rate for baby album is 3%? See, what are you going to do? Right? The supplier is enjoying his tax refund from the Chinese government while you are paying 30% to the US government. So you need to be in control of your products from the very beginning. I like, if you can get X work price, get X work price from the very beginning. The second thing is, if you can convince your supplier to use a favorable HS code when exporting your product, so that you can use a lining, or how do I call it, an HTS code that matches very well with the HS code he uses in China. You will use a comparable HTS code in the US, then it's a win-win situation for you and your supplier. If not, your supplier will be like, no, I'm going to use this HS code. I don't care how much you're paying in the US. This is what I'm going to use because this benefits me in China. Okay, so your product application or function, and number two, your material composition determines how much you're going to pay or what kind of classification you're going to give your product. Okay, remember, I just want to do a live demo. This is a big subject. That's why I'm putting all these things into a training program. So that you can do it little by yourself and digest it and have time to rewind and pause and all those things, right? Okay, let's go through 5 reasons you may be overpaying the US government in tariffs. And then with my demo, you'll probably be able to know what to do to save. So 5 reasons you may be overpaying. The first reason is you got your HTS code from your Chinese supplier. The US HTS system is written in English. Why rely on a non-English speaking person to interpret it? If your supplier gave you the HS codes, always double check to make sure it's the same or it matches the US version of HTS that you're going to be using, right? Number 2, a Chinese customs agent or forwarder picked your HTS code for you. What do they know about your product? They don't know your product as much as you, right? And they don't have time. Honestly, they don't have time for you. They just want to use something, just to get you're like a transaction to them. You're a transaction. They just want to do it quickly and just go. Do it quickly and just go. That's why I heard, Norman was talking about, we were talking about not usually going for the forwarder or shipper that has the cheapest rate. People are searching for shipping rate. They get shipping quotes all over and they go for the cheapest one. Guess what? When you're bringing that product into the US, that's where you're going to know that maybe the cheapest one might not be the best option. Okay, so make sure you do your homework very well, right? So unless the Chinese or the agent or forwarder is really good, I would rather have a US or an English speaking person that knows what they're doing to pick my HTS code so that I can save, right? Number 3 reasons you may be overpaying is your customs agent is too lazy to research and find correct HTS codes for your product. So finding the right HTS codes requires some in-depth research and it's very time consuming. It's hard work. Most agents would never put enough time into finding the right ones. Why should they care? To save you money. They're not the ones paying. It's true. They're not the ones paying the US government those tariffs. So why would they? You're not paying them to dig in and really search. So we offer at HONU, we offer a complimentary HTS code. If we're the ones shipping your product, we will help you with your HTS code, because when you get to the US border, you should be able to defend these HTS codes that we're using. So we just say, you know what? Anybody shipping with us, it's part of the package. We would help you find, or reclassify your HTS code to find the best one. In some cases, there are just some products that there's just no way around it. Anywhere you turn, the US government just wants that money from you. So reclassifying HS codes or HTS codes could be, hit or miss, or could be a 50-50 chance sometimes to find, but it's at least it's worth trying. So many people come to us and say, look, I'll pay you to do the HTS code research, even if you don't find the right one, even if you're not successful reclassifying it, at least I have a peace of mind that I'm using the right one. I don't want to go to bed thinking I may be overpaying for this service. Okay, so many people come to us for peace of mind, to know that they could, that they're using the right one. Number 4, your Chinese supplier gave you Chinese HS codes instead of the US HTS code, right? HS code is 6 digits. HTS code to bring it into the US is 10 digits. So you can get the HS code from China, but you have to convert it and match it with the US HTS code. That way you can save money when you're bringing it into the US, okay? Number 5, your customs agent doesn't care to know or understand your product. Remember the baby book, the baby album, the journal. Which of these 3 classifications do I put this product so I can save? The baby book is 25%, baby journal is 3%, baby's growth book is 12.5%. Of course, you go for the one that is the cheapest, which is the 3%, right? But you need time to research. Use the keywords in your product to research what you want. Okay, research what is best for you. Okay. So now let's look at some real life scenarios before we do our demo. I'm not using. I just used a decoy, but this is a real life scenario. But I used a decoy product so that I would not reveal this customer's product. Okay. So it's a magnet product, and what it was paying before it came to us was 4.9% plus Trump's 25%. And this is how you calculate duty. Your first duty is 4.9% of $50,000 order is $22,450, and then the 25% additional tariff goes on top of the first tariff. So you add the first tariff plus your purchase order, and then you do the additional 25% on top of it. So the total duty that person was paying was $15,562.50. When we reclassified it, it was 2.1% plus 0% duty. So we were able to save in $14,512. Now, another thing I discovered, now it's not this product. So if you own X Fasting or whatever, this is just a decoy product. It's just a similar product. It's a magnetic product. One of the tricks we found out with shipping magnets is that, or magnetic product, if your magnetic product is blank, it may be flagged for anti-dumping laws. So the US has anti-dumping laws and it affects magnets. So if your magnet sheet is blank, you might pay more duty than if you have writings on it. So if you're shipping in blank magnet, the moment you print your logo somewhere on that magnet, it becomes a printed magnet product. And the duty rate for a blank magnet sheet and a printed magnet sheet is difference is probably 15%. So if you're shipping a product that if there's a way you can put your logo or print something on that magnet or something, then it becomes a printed magnet, and then you can save a lot. So that's a trick. I don't know if it's still valid now, so check it out before you use that kind of hack. All right. Another product is a signed product. The duty rate before reclassification was 0% plus 25% of Trump. and it was classified as items of aluminum. But when we saw, we did a research on it, and we're like, look, this is more of an item for display or warning or advertising. We could classify this as a product of display, a display product, or product for advertising, because you're displaying warning on your fence, like do not enter or hazard or hazmat area or whatever that thing is. We were able to drop the duty to 7.5%. Total savings on a $20,000 order is $3,500. What if you're spending $100,000? That's times 4. Then you're saving yourself like almost $14,000 just from one order, if you get the right HTS code to bring your products in, right? So seeing these huge savings, would you pay a good customs person to classify your products correctly? I'll do that. I will do it any day, anytime. So not all brokers or not all shippers are the same, especially the ones posing and pushing low cost, shipping. Oh, we're the cheapest. That might come back to bite you. Do your research very well, do your homework very well before picking the right shipping company to take care of this kind of stuff for you. That's why a lot of people come to us to help them with this kind of situation, because you're going to save money. Once you start using the right HTS code, you can continue to use it every shipment. You're saving every shipment, right? So, and when you find an HTS code that is good, you have to make sure that your forwarder or your shipper can defend it, because they can hands off when your goods get to the US border. They can say, I don't know about that, I'm gone, right? That's why we offer it more as a complimentary service now to everybody that ships with us, because we want to be able to defend it when we're bringing it into the US. If a shipper or forwarder cannot defend an HTS code for you, please don't use them. Find ones that can use and defend your HTS code for you. If not, you're going to get into trouble. They're going to abandon your goods. You're going to start paying demurrage, and some demurrage is like $2,000 a day just in demurrage costs for some products or some containers. So please be careful. Okay, be careful. Why is it hard to rightly classify your products? HTS system is a little behind in catching up with inventions and new hybrid materials. These days, entrepreneurs are using multiple materials to create unique products. What if your product is made with materials that belong to 2 or more HTS codes? What do? What if your product is a wooden toy, a sports equipment, and also an educational product? Which HTS code are you going to use, right? What if it has 60% wood and 30% plastic? What HTS code are you going to use? That's what separates a good shipping company and forwarder from ones that are not so good, right? A good shipping company would help you all the way, so that you don't get stuck. They'll help you choose the right codes to use when you're bringing it into the US. All right, let's do some live demo. If you have questions, don't forget to post it. We're going to go into questions very soon. Okay, so don't forget to put your questions. Kelsey is going to help us moderate the questions after. But I just want to show you some stuff, the steps we take to get some good codes. All right. So now, before you ship your goods out, you have to talk to your supplier, and your supplier is going to give you HS code, and your HS code is 6 digits. Remember, so every supplier, for every export they're exporting out of China, they will give you a 6-digit code, right? So the first thing we do in-house at HONU here is we get your 6-digit code, and we go to this website. Let me see if I can share. Let me share that website so that you can see what I'm sharing. How do I stop sharing and then start sharing another one? Let me stop sharing this one, and then I'll start sharing another screen so you can see my screen. Let me share my screen. I'll just share, maybe I share the entire, I share the window. Okay, let me share the whole window, right? So let me share this window. And okay, so you see the screen that I am on. Kelsey, what screen will they be seeing now? Do they see the hscode.net that with Chinese characters on it?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so that's what we're seeing. Okay, so when you come to us and say, hey, I want to import products from China, my goods are ready, they're about to ship out, we'll tell you, okay, what code is your supplier giving you? Your supplier is going to give you a 6-digit HS code, right? And we go here to this weird website, and then we punch in that code to see if your supplier has the right classification for you. I cannot even navigate this website, but it's just to check the HS code your supplier gives you. And then, the lady that does it, on our team, Kathleen, she comes here, she punches the code into, she uses the Chinese version, by the way. So she punches your code, HS code that your supplier gives you. She punches it into this system, and then she looks at what comes up, right? And then she tries to see if that really matches your product. Is this really the product this guy is shipping, or this Chinese supplier doesn't even know what they're doing? So she goes all over, to look, to make sure that it was the right HS code they gave you, right? So now, if she finds another one, she puts it on the side, and then goes to this one, the US version of the HCS code, and punches your supplier's HS code here. So I'm going to grab a quick HS code here that the supplier gave us. I'm going to put it right here for you. So in this scenario, this guy was selling a glass product, and he was paying 0 plus 25% Trump tariff. So he came to us and he says, look, guys, can you help me reclassify this if possible? So what we did was we got the HS code he gave us, which was 701090. We put it here in US system, and this is what comes up. See, the HS code is 7010.90. And look, it has several variations. So is it serum bottles? If it is serum bottles, it's free. But look at this little dash. Not dash, like, what do you call this thing? Kels, what do you call this slash? You call it slash?
Just a slash, I think, yeah.
Slash, okay, all right, cool. So we punched in the guy's 6-digit HS code he got from his supplier, and we saw that his product is actually free. But wait a minute, is it really free? Anytime you see a rate here and then a slash, that means there's an additional tariff. So we came here, we looked at it, it says free, but there's a slash here. So we roll over our mouse on the slash to see, it's telling me there's an additional tariff under the code 99038803. So I'm going to open another screen, another tab, and just type in US tariff and go to this website again so that I can have two of this website together. So I'll come back to this and look at the code again, 99038803. So I come here and I type in 99038803. That's the additional tariff that this website tells me is being assessed. So I look at it. Here it says it has 25%. The duty provided in the applicable subheading plus 25%. So you remember the duty provided in the applicable subheading was free until we click the slash, and the slash is saying there's an extra 25% duty on it. Okay, see? So going back to here, we found out that the HS code, this 6-digit, has, is free, but it has a slash, and when we looked at the slash, it leads us here that it's an additional 25%. So the customer was paying 0 plus 25%. So we're like, how can we save him money? Can we find another code for him? So after doing some extensive digging, we found him this code. Remember, it was a glass product. It was a glass jar, I think, something in that category. So we went and found him this code, which is right here, which is a tempered glass. See, it was a glassware, but it was a tempered glass, because when we looked at the product, we saw that the edges, it was a tempered one. So this code fit perfectly. And when we check the additional thing, so let's see when it's now 12%, 12.5%, and it also has a slash. So we have to click on that slash to see if it has additional code. If it has an additional rate. So it's 99038816. So I come back here, 99038816. Okay, 99038816. Look at this. So when we came here to look at it, it says you will pay the duty provided in the applicable subheading plus 15%. But it has a second slash. And if you read what that second slash means, it says subdivisions T and U of note 20 to this chapter and heading 99038816 are suspended. That means the additional tariff using this code has been suspended. Look here, it also says compiler's note, provision suspended. So the customer is now paying 12.5%. It would have been paying 12.5% plus 15%, but this 15% has been suspended by the US government. So before it was paying 25% before it came to us. By the time it came to us, it is now paying 12.5%. Bringing in the same product. So that means we're saving him 12.5% in tariff. If its order is $100,000, we just saved him $12,500. We just saved him $12,500. I'll walk through the process again. Your supplier gives you an HS code, which is 6 digits. Then you come here and make sure that HS code is actually correct. It matches all the descriptions and all the keywords of your product. If it doesn't, then you pick another HS code. And when we did this, when we looked at hscode.net, we found a better HS code, which is 7013.99. The supplier gave us 7010.90, which led the customer to always pay 25% in tariff. But by the time we did our research, we found out 7013.99 was a better classification and a better rate. So what we did at the end of the day is, with the one we found, which is 7013.99, we gave it to the supplier and say, look, when you're exporting out of China, use 7013.99 for our customer. Use that code to file with the Chinese government what this product category belongs to. Remember, that's a very important part. You have to please make sure that you communicate that to your supplier and say, if you're buying FOB, by the way, if you're buying FOB, you have to tell your supplier. If you're not buying FOB, if you're buying ex-work pricing, then you have the liberty and the flexibility to use whatever HS code you want, right? Because the first 6 digits of your HS code must match the first 6 digits of your HTS code in order for the US Customs not to flag your product. Okay, so that's the breakdown of how we do it. It's very time consuming sometimes, but it's well worth it. After the end of the day, you're able to save $12,000, $15,000, $30,000 every single year. It's well worth it to put in that time to do this, okay? And if you don't want to put in that time, if you're shipping with us, we'll put in that effort and invest that time into you so that we can win you as a customer to be shipping with us. Or if you just want to pay us to do it, I think it's $397 to pay us to do it. But whichever way you decide, you can also show this video to your forwarder or your supplier so that they can follow these guidelines on how to do it, okay? All right, I'm going to stop sharing now. We're going to take some questions. How do I stop sharing this one? Where is the share button? How do I stop sharing my screen?
It's okay. I just removed it from the screen.
Okay, all right.
We're good. All right. So I hope everyone enjoyed the presentation today. This is, I would say, a very broad topic. Like it's very difficult to get it all condensed into 15 minutes. So if there's any questions that you have, let us know. We did have one question come in, as well as Steven Selikoff saying it's a great explanation. Daniel saying great tips, thank you. And welcome Jacob as well. So this is our HONU Live. This is different than Lunch with Norm. So I just want to make that clear. But from Daniel, our question, is there a comparison table between products and countries? Example, wood from China tariff and a wood from Mexico tariff?
There's not a comparison table, but there is in that database that I showed you for the US HTS, you would see when you want to research what HTS to use to bring products from China or to bring products from Mexico. Mexico may have 0 tariff for wood coming out of Mexico, but China may have 25% tariff because US is at war with China, right? But they're not at war with Mexico. In fact, there is that NAFTA? There's a trade.
Free trade agreement?
There's a trade agreement between US, Mexico, Canada, right? Which actually allows a lot of Mexican-made goods, Canadian-made goods to come into the US almost tax-free, right? Duty-free. But in China, it's a different ballgame. I wish there is a table, but there's no table. It's just a bunch of database that you have to search and look at. Because when you're searching in the US, on that US website that I gave you, it's going to say what country is this product coming from. This tariff is exempted from all these countries except China, right? So your tariff rate that you're going to pay is very country specific. So that's a really, really good question. But there's no table that I know of. You have to search for it the old school way like that, and just have your Excel sheet opened and be copying and pasting codes. But at the end of the day, it's going to be well worth it if you're going to be saving a lot of money. But that's so far, that's the best way to do it for now.
Okay, and Anna says great info. Thank you, Afolabi.
You're
Yeah,
welcome, Anna.
we got lots of views on this. I think this was a topic that a lot of people were interested in. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for joining. In Afolabi, if people are interested in learning how to handle these HTS codes and HS codes, and they don't want to do it themselves, how would they go about doing that?
You can send us email at savings@HONU Worldwide, or you can contact us for your shipping, savings@HONU Worldwide too, or you can just hit me up on Facebook. I'll introduce you to Kathleen, that helps us do all these things. She's a HONU employee in China, in our China office, and she does this all day, all day, all day. But I have to say again that sometimes it's a 50-50 chance. Maybe you're actually using the right one. Maybe you're using the right one. We may not be able to reclassify for you, but at least you have the peace of mind that you're not overpaying. Okay. And if you ship with us, we would we include that service for free when you ship with us. So it's either you ship with us, or you can pay us to do it, or you can give this video that will be available on YouTube very soon. You can send the link to your forwarder, your shipper, and or your VA to follow the steps to find you a really good code to use, and you should be fine.
Okay, great. Danielle says, let's create a software to compare product tariff in countries and get rich. So there you go.
Yes, it's going to be good. There is a company that tried it. Now that Daniel said that, there's a company that tried it. I think it's called dutycalculator.com. I don't know if they still exist. Let me search for you real quick. Dutycalculator.com. Do they still exist? It's bought over by Pitney Bowes. Yeah. It looks like, yeah, they're gone. They're gone. They did a good job, but the problem, people ran into was, what do you even put into the duty calculator website? that's the number one problem. What do you even put in there? Oh, okay, let me put my keyword. Once you put in your product keyword, it displays like gazillion results. Like, how do I have time to go through all these results? So we found the back channel by going through the China side first. Go to ChinaHScode.net first. Put in some Chinese character that is a complete representation of the keyword in English, whether we put it in Chinese, and then it spits out some other HS code that your product will qualify for. And we start using each of those HS code and putting it back into the US side to speed out different rates. So that's the best way to do it. So if Daniel, wants to go into that software, I'll give you pointers, and then you can send me commissions and recurring revenue. I like that. Awesome.
All right, so I think that about wraps everything up. So if you did enjoy today's HONU Live, make sure you like us on Facebook. It's HONU Worldwide. Also, we are on YouTube. All of these episodes go directly over to YouTube as well, so you can go back, rewatch, and check it out. And like Afolabi was saying before, if you have any questions, you can email Afolabi savings@honuworldwide.com. Or you can also, if you're interested in more information about HONU Worldwide, go over to the website, honuworldwide.com. And if you have, last thing, if you have topics too, throw them in the comment sections. We'd love to hear what you guys are interested in, what you guys would like to see next. So come tune in 2 weeks from now, Wednesday, 10 a.m., and we'll see you there. Afolabi, anything else?
No, go happy saving for 2022. Go crush it. Have a great time. Thank you, Steven, for watching. Yeah, Steven was on now. With Product Development Academy. Steven helps you people. It teaches. It has a class on how to bring your product into brick and mortar stores and how to bring it into big box retail stores. So check out product. Steven, what's the website? Are you still on Product Academy, Product Development Academy? We'll find it. If Steven is still on, you can put in the website here so that, you know, if you want to transition or at least diversify from just online to go into big box retail or to sell in retail stores and stuff like that, Steven has a good training program. Oh, productdevelopmentacademy.com. So Steven has a great program, and I think it's also mentoring to help you get to that point, because a lot of people are realizing how much money they could actually make and how much money they could keep by doing brick and mortar stores and physical retail stores, you know, all over the US, right? So check out Steven's website. You know, if you want to diversify, which I think you should anyway, and don't put your eggs in one basket. Just Amazon. What if they close your listing or something happens? How are you going to, you know, enjoy other channels, right? So, all right, check out Steven's website as well. It's nice to have everyone, and be safe and enjoy the rest of your day. Okay.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.